guys wants me to check out his deadlift. Strapping on. Come on then. First thing I'd say is you're taking too long to set up. You should get your straps on and it should be 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. What I find is people get caught in their own mind, in their own head. They psych themselves out of things. They overthink things when they take too long in the setup. Let's watch the deadlift. So it's by no means a terrible pull. Fatigue will probably break down more on the second rep. Yeah. So if we watch, you can see the hips tuck under as he lifts, hips shoot up. See the rounding of the lumbar, lower back. So you need to strengthen up your erector spinae. Your hips kick up too high, so this is probably either a very maximal weight or a weight you shouldn't be lifting based on what program you're completing. And then at the top, you lean back to finish the movement instead of bringing your hips through. So I would say lower back and glutes, you need to look at certain assistance work for that, and that will improve your deadlift. Okay, here we have Neil doing the log. He was actually one of my online clients. So again, you're taking a long time once your hands are on the log. You want to eradicate that time. Should be up, set, go. Deadlift phase is solid, but you go straight into the squat phase instead of standing all the way upright. You want to get to full extension. Now, I obviously know your mobility problems, but the squat phase ideally would be lower. Push that as hard as you can. Clean phase, I would get into triple extension, so you need to pop your heels off the floor. As you clean, it'll be more powerful. It's easy now because these are light weights for someone as strong as you, but as you get heavier, you want to be able to use your hips and not just curl the thing. When you're standing upright, again, you can see your knees are unlocked already. Press is good. Head stays back. But the knees being unlocked is, again, mobility issues. If you look from the top, the joints aren't quite stacked. You have anterior pelvic tilt. So I would look at stretching hip flexors and strengthening up glutes. But generally, good log press. So, bar's too close to you. Take the bar away a couple of centimeters. So there's a bit of a gap between the bar and your shins at this point. Tiny, tiny gap. See if you can get a little bit more quad drive into it. As you say in your message, your back rounds and has for a long time, so that means you've been going too heavy. So what I would do is I would concentrate on being able to maintain form with lighter weights for speed. I would add accommodating resistance to that, and I would also strengthen up your posterior chain, erector spinae, so lots of back extensions, incline flat, reverse hypers, and that will definitely help in the long term. In fact, go to my website and do the Anaconda protocol, and I bet you'll have a deadlift PB. Okay, Danny, let's look at your log. Okay, triple extension on the clean. Oop. So, let's look at it from start to finish again. Deadlift, didn't finish the extension phase deadlift, so you're all the way up. Then when you clean it, you will only have to lose a little bit of back extension. You only have to go all the way round. Clean is generally okay. What I tend to do is clamp your elbows in to you so you can pull it tighter. You look like you're using more biceps than lats in that respect on the clean. The dip phase is way too deep. Should be short, sharp, violent. The knees should not go past the toes on that phase. You want less of a knee bend for better leg drive. And then you need to practice your positioning of your back foot and locking out on the jerk, because the lockout should happen at that point and you have to press it out and your back foot is turned inwards. You want to stick it so your toes hit the back of you. The easiest way for that is to go and find an Olympic weightlifting coach and spend some sessions just getting split jerk technique down with them and a barbell, and then it'll transfer better to the log. Okay, Hans, beltless deadlift. Whoop, hips too low. You can't squat a deadlift. So the second rep was better because your hips were in a better starting position. But if we watch the first rep again, you'll notice you drop your hips too low, then they shoot up, which is now shooting your shoulders forward, and then lower back takes more of the load. So just get a better hip starting point. Generally good, hips coming through at the top instead of just using your lower back, but it's your starting position. You're losing a good 10 kilos just from that hip starting point being too low. Okay, with Nick, we've got 2 lifts, deadlift and a squat. Setup position looks a touch close. Yeah, a bit touch close and hips too low. So your hip starting point is too high. You can tell this, if we watch it again, by the hips going to their set point before the bar moves from the ground. So they sink low, then they come up, and then the bar rises. So bring them up a touch higher. If we watch your squat, this is a simple recommendation here. So I've already watched it and you fail the lift. But the reason you fail the lift, if you watch your body at the bottom, it shoots back. So your body wants to recruit, comes off the quads, because knees start to extend, hips go back, comes off the quads and wants to put the tension to where you must be stronger, which is the glutes posterior chain. So quads are weak. So we need to do more front squats, probably with heel raise. I would do more barbell hack squats, the extreme range version. Anything to bring your quad strength up would help this lift and would actually transfer nicely to your deadlift as well. Okay, Steve wants a triple body weight deadlift. So generally technique's good. I would say your intent isn't so good. You could move the bar, you could kill the bar, move it with a bit more speed to recruit those high threshold motor units and get used to being able to do that. You're not going to be able to lift a 1RM slowly. As you fatigue, you see your lower back runs. Not a huge problem, you're obviously very strong, but I would spend most of your training lifting quicker with your warm-up sets and your work sets in the deadlift. Maybe do some speed work and a lot more lower back work, direct lower back work. Look on my website for pre-fatigue giant sets. You don't necessarily have to do a giant set, you could do pre-fatigue supersets, but you pre-fatigue the hamstrings and knee flexion, then you work your hip extensors, which then puts more tension and more load on the erector spinae. So that would be a great way of doing things.